analysts at Assar Investments say Nigeria's equities market may sustain a positive run this month if the new administration's drive to deliver on the unified exchange rate and fuel subsidy removal policy measures is achieved. Muktar Mohammed, analyst at Assar Investments, joins me now virtually for more on this. Muktar, thank you so much for your time on the show today.
Yeah, David.
Now, let's get into the nitty-gritty of the affairs. As you see here, we've seen a strong rally initially from the inaugural speech of the president. This is exactly 1 week after. Are you optimistic that the Nigerian equities market can sustain this positive run? Because so many analysts are still of the view that we will see that volatility continue into the month of June.
Well, thank you, David. I think we may not be able to sustain it. What's happening now is pronouncement rally, and so for us to sustain it, we need to begin to see a structural rally. That's when what the president said. We are beginning to see the implementation of that. We've seen that the Nigerian Labour Congress are planning a strike tomorrow. I mean on Wednesday. And will the government budge and begin to pay a little bit of subsidy, or the deregulation will finally be here to stay? And so, if that stays, that helps the oil and gas company, like you've seen them, they rally thus far. And if that is sustained, then you continue to see those rally. Unified exchange rate is another factor that will help the market to sustain its rally. We may begin to see foreign investors coming into the market, and we saw this rally because of what the speech that the president gave, where the president said you will be able to bring in your money and you'll be able to repatriate your dividends anytime you want to go, want our friends, the foreign investors. So that also have been one of the important things that's causing the rally. But like I say, all these are what we call pronouncement rally. But to be sustained, it has to take a lot to be sustained. And one of those factors is if the government will still stand its ground on the removal of subsidy, one, and two, how is they going to work through the uniform exchange rate? And most importantly, who is going to be the minister for finance and that will run the economy in this time if Bola Tinubu first term. So those are the three key factors that will determine if this rally will continue for a very long time. If we're able to get it right in terms of the unified exchange rate and then subsidy regime continue, I mean subsidy regime is gone forever, and then we have the ministers and they hit the ground running, or we're in for a good time in the Nigerian equity market.
And beyond just the announcement of these policy measures, definitely what's waiting on investors' mind is the smooth implementation of this, because having to handle, take for example, the subsidy removal and the ripple effects triggering inflationary concerns and a whole lot more. But we still have to see how things will definitely pan out as talks are ongoing. But Muktar, now we're seeing the financial services sector week on week leading the chart. We see Access Bank, UBA and FBNH topping the stocks by volume. And just one of the reports we also had, FBNH also had the profit before tax of about 56.1 billion naira in the first quarter of this year. How do you see things panning out for the banking sector, most especially as we also have the news that telcos have issued a discontinuation notice to banks over the 120 billion naira USSD debt as well? How do you see things going on in the coming days for the banking sector and the stocks?
Well, I think it's very good news if the Tescom discontinue with the banking sector. I think that would be a bad news for most of the bank sector, because this seems to be the driver of financial inclusion, especially in the rural area, and again generally with the youths. And I think they need to go into negotiating and resolve this issue. And this issue has been on. I know that the former minister of communication waged in at a point and said they should stay off action, and they should look for a way to resolve these issues. But I think it's dragging too long. And then the telecoms are into the business to make money for their shareholder, just like the banks are also there. I think it's something they should resolve. Will that have a negative effect on the bank? It all depends on the perception of investors. And knowing that with the rally in the oil and gas sector, most of these banks are being owned a lot by these oil and gas companies, and with the removal of subsidy, especially from the major independent, the major marketers, we'll begin to see them pay some of these of loans, and that also will help the balance sheet. And so we're not surprised in what you see it in the first quarter of first holding, that's First Bank Holding Company. But again, if you look by their year-end result, which turned out to be that they are paying investors 50 kobo dividends. Well, I think that was very poor. But their first quarter result of 57 billion, I think is good news for investors. That could help investors look for the year-end saying that it will be better than what they paid them. They will pay better than what they will pay better in the coming year end than what they've paid of recent. So definitely for perception, it's not
Muktar,
good. But
very
again,
quickly,
we'll
permit me
see
to
how
butt
far
in
that
here.
will
Very
affect the
quickly,
banking sector.
what stocks would you say investors have to be putting their money's worth in at this point in time? Which are the top stocks, the safe havens for you?
Number one, you see, look at the tier one bank, like I've said, the lack of Zenith, GTCO, Access Bank, UBA, First Bank. Then if you look at the tier two bank, you mustn't take your eyes off Fidelity Bank. It's still a bank that I think is moving fast into becoming a tier one bank. Then the oil and gas sector, Con Oil, MRS, Seplat, exception number one, who is planning to delist. That's a good sector to look at, especially with the deregulation of the downstream sector. Then again, with the policy decision in terms of infrastructure, then the cement sectors are some a sector that you need to look at, cement, Dangote cement, also Lafarge cement. All these are also very, very good stocks. And again, don't take your eyes off the telecoms, no matter the challenge that you are seeing. MTN and Airtel in terms of data. And mustn't forget that even if they are disconnecting with the discos, they are also have license to become money agents. So that also could be another game changer for them.